What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Hope Shot. Man, guys, I hope you guys had a great weekend, a great day. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there that is celebrating today, to all those great fathers out there. And then I need Caesar. Would you read the clarity statement for us?
I just so happen to have that, Justin.
Yeah, I figured that.
The Hope Shot Clarity Statement. We here at the Hope Shot are a group of people in recovery spreading inspiration. We come from all different walks of life and pathways of recovery. Our verbiage may be different at times, but we all have one thing in common: recovery is a lifestyle. We support all pathways of recovery. It doesn't matter how you get from A to Z, just get there. And thank you for being a part of our Hope Shot family.
Thank you, Caesar. Appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Always on point, bro. Always got it ready to go. Let's see. We got if you guys are just jumping on, say what's up, let us know you're here. We got Allie in the comments, lost track of time. Good thing I clicked on Facebook and you were at the top. That's right, baby. We on top.
Baby.
Happy Father's Day, everyone. Thank you so much, Allie. We appreciate you. And so we thought it would be suitable for tonight to be to jump on a topic about fathers, about men, about just all the way around, because I think men's mental health we don't talk about enough. And me and Caesar were actually on a panelist discussion right before I went on a vacation about being a father in recovery, men's mental health, the struggles, all of it. And I thought it was just so inspiring and such a great topic that we wanted to bring it to y'all, man, and just have an open conversation and do like more of a conversational type podcast tonight. So we hope you guys enjoy it. And there's a few more people that jumped on. As I said, if you guys are just jumping on, say what's up. Let us know you're here. Let's see. We got Lindsay in the house. Good evening, fam. Happy Father's Day. We got Tracy. Hey, guys. God bless y'all. Thank you so much. Good to see you. We got Chelsea. Happy Father's Day. Hope everyone having an awesome day and weekend. Same to you with the weekend. Let's see. We got Sean. It says, new here. My name is Sonia. Sonia, welcome. Glad you're here. We got Lacey. What's up? We got Christina. Good to see you. Hey, fam. Happy Father's Day, fellas. Share. Appreciate you. If you guys would share this, we really would appreciate. You never know who this might help tonight. Let's see. We got Sonia says, me and my boyfriend of 15 years just broke up because he released on meth.
Relapse.
Thank you for read between the lines. And I was scared for my sobriety. Please pray. We'll definitely pray for you, and good for you for sticking to it. Let's see. We got Jeff. Good evening. We got Davion.
Davion.
Up, man. Happy Father's Day to you. We got Rebecca, and we got Soul Support. What's up, family? My beautiful souls, brothers and sisters. Happy Father's Day to all you soul brothers. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. All right. So, yeah, like I was saying, me and Caesar were on the panelists. We were talking about men's mental health and how we don't talk about it enough. I think that, the old narrative was to just suck it up. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you something to cry about. That old narrative that we've been programmed with our whole lives, that where we don't talk about, get vulnerable. Like, it's so hard for men to get vulnerable with each other until we found recovery and found out that's the cure to it. You know what I mean? That is to get open and honest with another man is something that, like, it puts all that light onto that darkness and makes it shine out of you. And that way it's not a secret anymore. We're only sick as our secrets. And that's something that I feel like people in general do, but mostly it's a lot of men are like this. I forget if it's this month, this week, or last week or something like that. It's men's mental health awareness or suicide awareness or something like that. And, it's Father's Day, and there's a lot of things that we don't want to talk about, and we just hold it until we burst open and freaking do something stupid or do something to ourselves or somebody else. So I thought it was a great topic, and if one of y'all want to start sharing off that, man, I appreciate it, so I can.
Oh, but I thought it was going to be conversational.
It is. You want to start? You want to jump in? Is what I'm saying.
Oh, sure. Why not? It was a good topic. We were on a panel discussion, and this mental health recovery, it all ties in together. And I know we have a lot of women on here. If you can identify with what we're talking about, fantastic. If you cannot identify with what we're talking about, please show us some grace because it's Father's Day. We're going to talk about man stuff. So I come from a family, an old school Cuban father that was on the other side of the law. And what I was taught was you don't talk about your problems outside of the house. You don't really talk about your problems at all. If you get caught red-handed, you deny it anyway. You just don't talk to people about anything. You don't share your dirt with anybody. And then that, coupled with prison and jail mentality, did me a disservice. It took me a long, long time to be able to trust somebody to open up to. And that stuff builds up. I mean, I'm talking about early recovery, but today it's the same thing. Is I have to remind myself that I've got this beautiful network of men that I can reach out to and tell them where I am today and receive feedback, because I can't really get any help if I'm not telling anybody that I've got a problem. So, this platform that we're on, trying to normalize being vulnerable in public, trying to normalize that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say that you're struggling. As a man, I've had to unlearn a lot of behaviors that don't serve me well. Answers like I'm fine, or it is what it is. Just trudge forward no matter what. We don't complain. We don't talk about it. That doesn't serve me well. If I want to be okay, I've got to be able to open my mouth and say, I'm not all right today. Like I'm struggling today, and just having somebody to listen to, being able to take time for ourselves as providers and as these people that are, it's shocking to me, but these people that are considered leaders in our communities, we like to portray that we're perfect and strong and can't, infallible, when none of that's true. We have good days, we have bad days. And if I can't get vulnerable and share where I'm at, that I put myself in a lot of danger. As a human being, I can only take so much. Take the word man out of it. As a human, I can only pile so much shit on my back before I'll snap. Whether that's mental health stuff, whether that's just stresses of job and family and being provider, or if it's just normal person in recovery, freaking wackadoo shit that runs around inside my head, I got to be able to get that stuff out. So I think it's really important to talk about getting vulnerable and finding the people that you can trust, that you can open up to about your authentic self and your genuine problems, and get that stuff off your chest and get rid of that stigma of I'm less of a man if I have to ask for help, because that's BS. If you want to be functional for your family, you want to be functional as a provider, and you want to stay on this recovery journey, then I got to get real comfortable talking about where I'm at and what I'm going through. Can you guys dig that?
Yeah, I like what you said, Caesar. Also, and this is important not only for men but for women, because we are programmed. Let me not say programmed. I'm not trying to sound spiritual here, but like how from a young age I watch movies, I watch MTV, I read books, where the man has to be tough. He has to have this bravado. Nice guys finish last. You can't be soft. You know what I mean? And now you're building you have this facade, and underneath we have the same emotions, the same feelings, the same vulnerabilities, the same fears as any other human being, right? Man or woman. And God forbid we're sensitive, right? You know, like I always used to have to hide my sensitivity. You know, I'm a sensitive man, you know, and I like felt like it was like ashamed of it almost, you know, like I like that something was wrong with me. And you know, I was brought up differently. Like, you know, I was brought up, you know, in a different home where talking about your feelings and having things out in the open was accepted, you know, but I also grew up in a home with an older brother that if I did those things, you know, I would appear uncool. And that's the thing about it, you know, like God forbid, how am I going to look if I act this certain way? You know what I mean? That I was lived in constant fear of being judged for being anything other than what, you know, societal standards were, or, you know, what the latest movie was, or, you know, my whatever clique I was involved in at that time. And something, the most beautiful freedom that I ever received in recovery was the ability to take my mask off and finally be myself, to be who I truly am without shame, and to address like these things that you know all, I mean, because anybody in this recovery arena, we are all survivors of some sort of trauma, right? Anybody that had any type of run um has had some sort of trauma. And um that's for men, it's like it's I hear women talk about it so freely, but men not so much, you know what I mean? So yeah, like when we might be talking about fathers today, we might be talking about men, but you know, how do we become a better man, a better human being towards women, or in a relationship, or to our mothers, or to, you know, women in general, is by addressing these issues and finding out exactly what's going on inside, and not being afraid to express who we truly are, you know. And talk about, I can talk about vulnerability. I'll do it on a live podcast, you know, for whoever wants to listen. You know, I hear, you know, every happy Father's Day, right? I don't have my daughters, right? So like that is a difficult situation for me. I can't see my daughters, right? I'm unable to. And you know, I read this post today, right? And it said you know, for all the fathers out there that show up for their kids, and you know, and for all the other ones, the deadbeats, you know what I mean? And I have to like think about it. I'm like, damn, am I a deadbeat today? You know, like, am I a deadbeat because I'm not in my daughter's life? And you know, I'm not, and I know I'm not. You know, I'm someone that made some horrible mistakes in the course of, you know, my addiction, and had to, you know, pay some like really hard consequences, and that I'm still paying to this day. But because I was able to get into this process, get vulnerable, be completely open, be you know, put all my stuff out on the table, I am able to talk about this and not fall apart. I'm able to show up today, you know, wake up proud of who I am, where I'm at, knowing that I am heading towards my daughters and not the other way around. You know, and that's the type of vulnerability that we need to be experiencing today in recovery. That's what I need to experience if I want to continue to grow. Because how can I like possibly continue to grow if I'm not talking about these things? You know what I mean?
Dude, that's the other side of it is, how can you truly help somebody or get through to somebody if you're not sharing your authentic self? You know, like if I portray myself as perfect with no problems and no issues that I struggle with or anything, how freaking relatable am I to somebody that's in early recovery? I'm not. It's zero. But if I start talking about what really goes on between my ears on a daily basis, they're going to go, oh man, this guy's freaking batshit crazy. But he's been in recovery for 9 years. So he's got something going on that that I'm interested in. He thinks like me, but he doesn't look like me or act like me anymore. So how did he get that? Then I get an opportunity to be of service to somebody. So I mean, the vulnerability, the normalizing, being able to talk about stuff like this, I think is huge because it's the opposite of everything I ever learned before I got into recovery.
You know, I want to say that, like, Nate, you said, like, we got to put on these masks. Like, that was our defense mechanism, was like we put on these masks to show up in certain ways for certain people or in certain times, because we had to cover up all the pain and all the trauma and all the bullshit that we had underneath. And I feel like that's like a normal thing in society to cover up, because I just had a comment in here from Lindsay that says, you know, her mom, you know, she would talk about it on Facebook, and then she'd have her mom calls like, you don't talk about that stuff out there. You don't put that out there. And it's like, I feel like that's the normalizing. That's normal of everybody's covering it up. Like, this is our family stuff. We don't talk about that outside the house. You know what I mean? Like the old school thinking. And I believe that has hindered us and made us put on these masks to not show face, and that we can cover it up. But all in all, it's just destroying us as people, as individuals. And, you know, that's something we talked about in that panelist discussion. And you know, I feel like, you know, sometimes, man, I mean, I went through this thing and thinking I don't have any feelings at all. You know, I feel like I have no feelings, or I don't know how to express them. You know what I mean? And like, I'm literally trying to break down these walls that I've built for so long that I've been an adult. You know what I mean? That like, I don't even know there's walls there, you know? They're so fucking high and so thick. They're bulletproof, baby. And like, and it's like, I didn't even know I just thought I didn't have any fucking feelings, that maybe I'm just a narcissist or something. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, that's the shit that I play with. And it's not the truth, man. I do have feelings. I just know how to recognize the negative ones more than the freaking positive ones, because that's what I'm used to. I would get my way, or I'd get more shit if I put out those negative emotions more. And it's tantrums. And I'm still doing it today as an adult. I throw tantrums. Do it all the time. I'm really good at it, you know? And I feel like if I can get in touch with who I am as an individual, instead of putting all these fucking masks that I've been wearing my whole life, that just maybe I might be able to get down to the root of the bullshit that I've been storing up for all these years. And just maybe I can be somebody that I really want to be. And I say it's a fight. And now that I've been doing this stuff lately, it's the fight between not me and me, you know? I'm in the middle right there, you know? And so like, really getting vulnerable with other people like Nate and Caesar and Steve even, you know, it really does put down those walls even more and more and more, because then you'd be like, man, this motherfucker knows the same shit. Right. And he knows how to get the fuck out of it. So
yeah, and just about like, just one thing about the walls, like we I don't want to like these walls served a great purpose for us in our life. You know what I mean? They serve the purpose at a certain time. But what hurt me as an individual coming into this process was trying to carry old patterns that served the purpose when I was in active addiction into my sobriety. You know, and the only way that I can reverse this pattern is by getting vulnerable with another man, or by connecting to this source, to this power, and asking for help, like doing the very things that I was taught not to do. You know, I have to become humble. You know, I always thought humble, I thought that meant humility. You know, I knew what humility meant. You know, I was always humiliated.
Yeah, you knew what humiliation meant.
Yeah, I know what that means. But that and humble, you know, is not the same thing. So like, I have to really like, how do I, you know, come from, you know, having all these behaviors that served a great purpose and kept me, you know, protected, you know, and kept me getting what I wanted. And, you know, I have to figure out how to let those patterns go. And the only way that I can do that is by, you know, becoming open and, you know, trusting and seeking. And it's, but they're so subtle, because they're, like Justin said, like, we don't even, you know, they're still like, I'm still chipping away at it. I don't even realize that certain things are still there, you know, a few years later. Let's hear from Steve. Like, Steve, how is it 15 years later, bro? Like, is there walls 15 years from now? Yeah. Do I gotta expect this 10 years from now? Shit.
I don't know what y'all are talking about. I don't have those problems.
Oh shit. Okay.
There's that mask. Oh shit.
Well, the masks do exist still, though.
Something that caught my ear when that I've been going through for the last 3 or 4 months, right? And that Caesar said, and even though Caesar's like Darth Vader right now, he's like,
all right, I'm gonna try to get some lighting. I'll be right back.
He's like,
I
okay.
can barely see him. I can't even see him no more. He just moved or something, and boom, gone. No, I mean, I think everything that's been said so far, I agree with. That's been my experience. I'm not saying what my opinion is, my experience. But Caesar said this word that caught my ear: unlearn. And Nate, you just hit what I was going to say on the end there about all that stuff served a purpose for me. Every bit of it. Everything was great, right? I can do anything addictively, anything. If I always joke about this a lot, but it's if I don't buy Oreo cookies anymore and put them in my house, I just can't eat 3 or 4 of them. There's no way. Time and time again, it's just a thing. It's just a thing. Is that going to make me go out and smoke crack? No, but I don't like the way it makes me feel afterwards. So I want to change that behavior. So how I change it is I abort it and just leave it in the store. So it's like unlearning. Yeah, it's like unlearning, man. When I lived for so long incarcerated, food was a big deal. You know, I've been not incarcerated for over 20 years now, and I still have those tendencies of self-protective behavior. You know, even on the streets, so to speak, or out here in the professional community, I still have self-preservation behavior when I don't necessarily need it. The thing that gets me is when I come in, it's just like being a child again. I come into recovery, and it took a lot of work for me to see this, and it wasn't me finding it. It was somebody else sitting across from me, a guy that I spend a lot of time with once a week anyway, for the last 6 months. He had pointed out that he didn't realize that first he said, dude, I didn't know I was sitting in the room with Jesus, you know, and I went, what? Then he goes, so what you're telling me, what I'm here to say is you not make mistakes, exempt from making mistakes, you know? And I was like, I didn't say that. And then he goes, but that's what I'm hearing you say. Yes, Steve, you came into recovery. You started working a program of recovery. You started identifying, challenging, and changing some things. So you see the course of your life that served you. Look at you, sober. You're not incarcerated anymore. Your family's back in your life. Everything's going well for you. Great, yes. But now you're being molded and taken from that stage, and you're going into a new season of your life. And when he said that to me, I was like, fuck. And, you know, and it's like, I have to unlearn that stuff too. Because when I was a kid, I grew up in that same household Justin talked about. Don't talk, don't feel, and know your place. Those are the 3 rules. Know your place. Don't talk, don't feel. And it wasn't that my parents did a hell of a bad job. I was very fortunate with my, don't get me wrong, but those were the rules, and everyone lived by them. It was unwritten. And there was, so I, you know, obviously experienced addiction, incarceration, all kinds of things, traumas that happened in my life. Then I come into recovery, and I will not change. I don't think my experience was personal, was I would not change until I will not get vulnerable with somebody else until I feel safety. I'm just not going to do it. I don't know what it is, but I just got to feel safe with you nowadays I'm a little more open about it with people when I just meet them or stuff like that, or I share my story at a meeting or what have you. I might be a little more open about it because basically I just pray and go to the podium and speak. But unless I feel safe, I'm not going to be vulnerable or transparent. I like transparent better. Caesar's having a tough time.
Dude,
I know he's really struggling
out there, bro.
Just like sit your ass down somewhere, bro. It's all good.
But I mean, I love this topic. I love dealing. I only attend men's meetings. I've done that for years simply because of the feeding I get when I attend those meetings. I was a co-partner in starting a men's meeting not too long ago, and I love that group. I love those guys in there. They're not just one, way of recovery. They come from different walks of life. It just gives me such a great perspective, and it challenges me to unlearn what I was taught and the way I was brought up in recovery. It challenges the shit out of me, man, and it's uncomfortable sometimes, man. And I have to vent. I have guys that I talk to every day about stuff, and it's not that they change the way I think. They just give me a different perspective for me to challenge the way I think and about certain things. I believe that what works for me is or to sum it up is it's a continual thing. I'm still unlearning stuff. I attended this. Hey, Kelly. I attended this. I attended this. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, and I'm sure people that are listening know, but this Recovery Coach Academy, I grew up clinically in the field. I've 16 years in the treatment industry, man. I grew up clinically. I went to college. I got a degree in addiction, in addictions, human services. I got a master's, I grew up in the treatment industry. And this thing is flooring me, man, going through this Recovery Coach Academy thing. That isn't the way I grew up. You know what I mean? I'm talking about grew up in sobriety, there's some things in there that were hard to swallow. The information that was given. There were some things that I was saying, damn, that makes so much sense. I fucked up. Like, I shouldn't have did that because it makes so much sense, man. And there were some things that were confirmation for me too. Like, I was trying to implement some of those things when I was the facility directors and stuff. And that's why I was getting pushback from the staff, when I was trying to implement some of those things. So I think it's a lifelong unlearning process and learning process. And I tell you what, I may not be comfortable in the process all the time, but I sure love the results of being in the process. I sure do, man. And the highest thing I can get in this deal is, I used to say sober because that's the way I was brought up. The highest grade you get in sobriety is sober, No. The highest is when I feel connected to my guy, man, my connection, my God, and I'm peaceful and I'm serene. And I actually like who I see in the mirror. That's the highest level of sobriety that I've experienced.
Yeah, because you can be sober and not like the guy in the fucking mirror, I'll tell you that.
Right.
And, I really love all that, Steve. I think that's amazing. It's like, and it's just, we knew that's the information that worked when that time was happening,
Right.
And now we have this new age of shit that's killing people. But we need to hit it a whole nother angle, baby. It's all about the angles.
To me, it's like addiction is a moving target, man. It ain't crack anymore, man. I mean, crack's still available. I'm sure of it. Right. But I'm just saying, it ain't that lifestyle that I was accustomed to for so long and normalized. Right. Mm-hmm. It's moved up to other stuff. And I'm not talking about just the drugs, just the game has progressed to get to where it's at. I can't stay stuck in treating it the same way. And that, right. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me personally. Like, I've changed. I'm not saying I changed, I'm saying my body is changing I'm getting older. I got to treat myself differently. I'll put so much effort into my cleaning my car, but I'll feel guilty about going fishing today. I didn't do nothing productive today, but and it's like, golly, Steve, you went fishing because that's called, like, you got to have some downtime. You got to take care of yourself. You got to freaking get out of the house, for one thing, and go do something, be active. That's something that you enjoy doing. And I enjoy fishing, so it's like, but I'll pay attention to my car. If there's a bird shit on it, I'll run that thing through the wash, man, and vacuum it out and wipe it down. And it's like, I don't take care of myself that way. Why don't I pay attention to myself that way?
Yeah. And the play devil's advocate, though, like, as far as, there is a foundation of things that my sobriety rests upon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there is, the process that got me sober to begin with, and ultimately my connection to my higher power, and of course, my connection to the fellowship, my friends, and the way I utilize that tool on a daily basis, and then service to others. But if I want to, like, how do I not become stagnant? How do I continue to grow? I have to become open-minded, and like Steve was saying, like, how do we get that what's our fill today? What gives us that high, so to speak, or gets us, fills us with joy. For me, it is constantly seeking a closer connection to my higher power, because through that I can better serve my purpose, which is to be of maximum service to others, and how do I do that? That is my constant mission, is like getting closer to my truth, my source, my friends who are just a manifestation of that source. And, how do I become a better example? And, through all that, I get to experience, like, the most, like, joyous freedom. I just celebrated, 5 years last Monday, man. It's like, I don't usually talk about my celebrations. I don't usually post them, and all my friends will post them for me because they're great friends. And but I did one
decade, man.
Yeah, I did one this year because it's a big deal, man. And I had some cool comments that people, like, that aren't in recovery and that have known me my whole life, and they're like, Nathan, you are a miracle, and I have to remember, like, how important this journey has been. And I'm not talking about just for me, but like how somebody else has seen that and might give recovery a chance. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's that ability to I don't recover out loud as best as some guys on this screen. I could do better. And it's because I'm a really private person, and I try to keep stuff close to the chest. But there it is. There's those old patterns, that served a great purpose for me, in the past, that I'm still hanging on to. That it's always room for growth, man. And I'm just humble enough, not humiliated, not today at least, enough to keep seeking and learning and trying to ask questions and remain teachable. Caesar, I think you got good light now, finally. By
Looks
the way.
like
I don't know. Now I look like a head floating in the abyss.
That's great. I want to read some of these comments, but I want to say one thing real quick. And I don't know, Caesar, if you want to say one thing, but I want to say that the things that no longer serve us, we have to recognize and put the fuck down in order for us to be able to even connect to that source. So, and it's our defense mechanisms, So, go ahead, Caesar.
But just real quick on that, Justin. But I also believe, but I do believe that it's kind of like the other way around. Like, we have to connect to our source first, and then we're able to, like, start putting that other stuff down. Because, like, I need to have a spiritual experience to be able to see half the shit that's wrong with me. Well, really, like 98% of it. I know that I love what I love, and I know that I'm a mental mess. But what I don't know is what a God experience is.
Good, Caesar.
No, I was just gonna say, you were talking about when you shared, Justin, about being an adult. One of the biggest things that inside of me, geez, now the dogs are going to drink all the water. Okay, that's
Yes.
fun.
Cool.
We're having a blast.
Bro.
It's insane. But I don't feel like an adult inside. You know, I still feel like, I don't know, maybe 16 years old at best, confused about a lot of things, you know, and I'm in a position today where I'm in charge of a lot of people, like just a stupid amount of people that in my head, like I walk around and I'm like, who the hell put me in charge of all these people? I'm in charge of the livelihoods of like 75 people.
Where's the adults?
To make sure, yeah. And then like when stuff gets hard, I go and look behind me and I'm like, well, who do I go tell the problem to? You know, like, oh, wait, I'm the guy. Like, it's already worked its way uphill and it landed in my lap. There's nowhere else for it to go. I have to handle that. And it just baffles me on a daily basis that I feel like the little rascals when they're trying to go into the movies, you know, and it's like one kid standing on another one's shoulder with an adult suit on and walking through life. And the beautiful thing I've learned is I've been around long enough to know that that's not limited to just us, the people in recovery. That's most people in a professional setting have the same imposter syndrome. Because now I've been able to talk to these people and they're like, holy crap, man, I'm faking it half the time. Like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing half the time. Sometimes the stuff works, sometimes it doesn't. And that really made me feel good because I thought that was just me, you know? And I'm like, oh man, we're all just kind of fumbling through life together, whether we're in recovery or we're not in recovery. And the only way I would have got that feedback and that validation that it's not just a person with substance use disorder was because I was opening my mouth and talking about it. We were in this big fancy room and I leaned over to the guy next to me and went, geez, man, I can't believe we're sitting in this fancy ass place. Like, I can't believe they let me in the door. And the guy goes, yeah, shit, man, I'm supposed to be the main speaker. And I can't believe I'm even up here. And I was like, no kidding. I thought you were like, you had a doctorate and you had this and that. And he's like, yeah, I do. But that doesn't mean I like getting up and talking in front of people. I feel like I've got nothing important to say. And I was like, yes. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, guy with all these doctorate degrees and all this stuff that on paper looks like the most knowledgeable, confident person in the world. He's sitting there sweating because he feels like he shouldn't be there. And that just came full circle to me as far as the mask and the, you know, being an adult and all that stuff. It's the more we take the mask off, and the more we share with people who we truly are, whether they're in recovery or not, that put the guy next to me at ease and comfort to be able to talk about his anxieties that day. And that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't just been like, bro, what are we doing here? You know, like it's just cool, man. You know, this thing spreads into all aspects of life. It's the energy is contagious, you know, and when we're right, when we're centered and we're doing what we're supposed to do, that wave that goes outward, it really does, man. It makes somebody else and the next person, the next one feel comfortable talking about where they are in life. And you'll be surprised of the people that feel like they're imposters too, you know, because they're in high positions and they have the same anxieties and the same struggles that we do. We're not unique. And I know on a daily basis, I think I'm unique and I've got all these unique problems, but there is not one problem that I have that somebody hasn't gone through and come out the other side stronger. And that's why I got to talk about it and learn from the people that have done it. You know, we got Steve sitting here. He's been doing it longer than I have, you know, and I can learn from Steve. I've got Nate and Justin that have been doing it less time than I have, and I can learn from them too, because it doesn't matter where you are on this journey. You know, we're all unique, but we're all the same. You know, it's like this dichotomy. You have your own experience. That's what makes you unique, but we're all the same because we struggle with the same bullshit on a daily basis. It's awesome. I get excited about this stuff. Read some comments, Justin.
I'm going to read some comments. This is a good one right here. This is Christina says, absolutely not, Nate. You're not a deadbeat. I just received a letter from my oldest son. who, due to my addiction, I gave him up for adoption 14 years ago. Keep doing the next right thing and just stay sober, and your kids will come looking for you. Don't lose faith, my friend.
Thank
That
you.
right there. I was itching to read that, just to let you know.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you, Christina, for sharing that with us.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was very sweet. Very true, too.
We got Lindsay says, it's a disservice to myself and others to not share my authentic self, especially a disservice to myself and my recovery. I'll forever lack growth if I stay stagnant and not share. And that's exactly what, and that helps break other people's walls down. That's what it does. It helps them because they can recognize. Let's see, we have.
See, I just said real quick on that is like, I love going to speaker meetings because you hear that stuff and you're sitting in the crowd and let's say Caesar's telling his story and he's talking about how it was and all that. And you're like, shit, I thought I was the only one that did that. Yeah.
No, he is.
That's how I ended up finding out I was in the right place. All the times that I was court ordered, my ears weren't open. I was just there to get my paper signed and leave. But when I really needed this recovery thing and my ears were opened up because I had my ass kicked enough, I went, holy crap, these people have been exactly where I am. And they know how to get out. This is crazy.
We got Jeanette, first timer. How is everyone? Good to see you,
Hey,
Jeanette.
Jeanette.
Thanks for being here. Let's see. We got Brett says the single most important thing we can do to change old school thinking is to let our next generation see us being vulnerable with conversations in and out of the home, including therapy groups, etc. Them seeing that is the way we change it, and that's exactly why we get on every week.
Yeah, got to model the behavior that we're preaching.
That's it. Let's see. We got David says, I have been in recovery nearly 19 years and have had good days and off days, and am going through some stuff. Recovery has helped me grow, and I am grateful for the lessons.
Beautiful.
Stephanie says, first time in this meeting, and oh my God, it is on point. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing your stories. Just to let you know, anybody that's new here, we do this every Sunday, 8 p.m. We go live and we just share our lives, our recovery, everything. And we get you guys involved in the comments. And that's the beauty of it. Let's see, we got Kara. Hey, good to see you, Kara. Kara says, hi, Jeanette is my mom. She's watching and sober for 5 years. My brother Jason is with her and watching. Justin recommended in a Facebook group for him. I did. And it's good talking to you. And I'm glad to see you in the comments and your brother's watching. I hope we get something out of this. Really do. And if you're watching, if you want to talk more, let me know. Let's see. We have just going down. Let's see. We got Teron. I
like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Recovery is the greatest gift you could ever give yourself and your children. Really everyone you come in contact with, and the gifts of recovery just keep on giving. That's it, like a ripple effect. My addiction is a ripple and my recovery is a ripple. Let's see, we got Missy Thang. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Wow, how relatable. Missed today's most days. Sorry. Thank you, Nate. You're a good narrator. Navigator. There we go.
I read broken text.
Yeah.
He's the narrator.
Narrator. There we go. I feel same way, young at heart, in my heart, and so much adulting who allowed me to do all this. Shake my head. Should I even be driving it? Sorry. Let's see. We got Kara says, yes, thank you. This is exactly what my brother struggles with. I tell him nothing is wrong with your brain in recovery. I'm the same way. We're just floating through life, in recovery or not. We're all the same. We don't know everything, even if it seems that way. We like to think we know everything, but most of the time we just sound like we're retards. I know I do, especially when I try to think I know something and then it like hits me right in the face. See, we got Lynn. Lynn, good to see you. Hey guys, happy Father's Day. Nate, you are an inspiration to those in and out of recovery. Stay strong, my friend.
Thank you, Lynn. I love you.
And we got Amanda says, I am not an addict and can't be gone to believe how hard it is for everyone, but I am trying to get my boyfriend into recovery and to stop doing drugs before he's gone. I hope with help from all of you, I can get him some help before it's too late. Reach out to us if you need any more info.
Yes.
And
all the resources you need right here.
Yep. And if you want to turn them on to this podcast as well, they get some familiar faces. Maybe something might trigger in them. Who knows? But if not, definitely reach out to us. We'll see if we can do anything for you, put you in the right direction at least. But yeah, man. So that's it for the comments.
Dude, you know what's cool is that, like what Caesar was saying, like, how long did I feel like I was alone in my madness? You know what I mean? Like, I spent so many years thinking there is no conceivable way anybody could ever feel what I feel, seen what I seen, felt like, you know, like experience what I experienced, because I went through some dark stuff, right? Like, this is like some horrible stuff that I experienced in the course of my, you know, using. And like, it's that what is it? Terminal uniqueness. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like there is no way. How can everybody? I didn't want anybody to feel that way, because it's a pretty horrible feeling, right? And to discover that not only people in recovery, but everybody has a story. Everybody is struggling with something. You know, we're all just like trying to figure it out. You know, and to like not feel alone in this, to not feel apart from, you know, to feel like we're, you know, we don't have to walk through life, you know, with all this madness, you know, by ourselves ever again, if we so choose. And that is a promise that I can say on this screen right here. Like, if you make a choice to reach your hand out there, it will be, you know, taken, and you never ever have to feel alone in this world or in your mind ever again, you know. And that's the beauty of recovery, and the beauty in connecting with others in recovery and using that tool. People I work with, I emphasize this back so badly. Pick up the phone, call somebody, man. The relationships I have with all these people on this screen and many others today is like the greatest freedom. And one of my greatest resources that I have on it, you know, it's something that I rely on like so heavily, especially on days like this, you know.
You know, and I would say, like, to pick up the phone, man, that is the most heaviest thing ever when you're going through something, right? But when you have that good shit to put out there, you're like, ooh, man, this thing's light, you know? But it's the most important thing you do, because, like, I to tell you, and then I talked to you about it, and you gave me your perspective, and that, like, totally ceases and desists that whole narrative. Like, it really does, because I can connect with somebody, and then I can lay it on them, and they can tell me how dumb I look or sound. You know, most of the time that's what happens. But you know what's funny? It's like, then you think about it later on, and you're like, man, that was crazy that was that big of a deal to me. You know, it was like a crisis mode at that moment. But now that I look back at it, like, let's say I get some time behind it, and I'm like, man, it's just crazy to even think that way. Like, whoa,
Yeah.
You know, and it's just this thinking, man. This old behaviors and these old ideas of what life should be and what it is, and too much future and not enough present. You know, that's what
Right.
You know, and
hey, and then,
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. But you know, I was just saying, like what you were saying, Justin. Like yesterday, a brief conversation with Caesar. Like, I reached out to Caesar. I'm like, where are you guys at, man? He's like, how you doing? I'm like, I'm really good. And then like a couple more text messages, and I'm like, actually, I'm homesick. I feel disconnected. Tomorrow's super difficult for me. That's how I really feel. That's. And then as soon as I said that to him, I was like, you know, but my first instinct, you know, I'm great. You know,
well, it's the old standby answer.
I'm a spiritual giant. I'm fine.
Yeah,
No,
I'm Nostradamus.
I'm struggling, man. Yeah.
This popped in my head. You know, there's like this, before there was a Google Maps on everybody's phone, there was this ongoing joke of, you know, men don't ask for directions and they just get lost, and pretend like they know where they are. But that's a pretty good metaphor for how I was for most of my life. I never want to admit that I don't know something. And I've shared it on here before. My sponsor telling me that it was okay to say, I don't know, was like a big deal to me, because I would tell you I'd figure it out, or I'll do this, or yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And the whole conversation would go over my head and I wouldn't get anything out of it. People were talking about the steps in meetings and I would just go, yeah, absolutely. I know. Yep. Oh, 4-step. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I know exactly what how's that supposed to go. It's bullshit. I didn't know anything. And this was long before I actually, got into recovery and it stuck. And this guy pulled me aside and goes, man, you're full of shit. He goes, whatever that is that you're sharing, that you think you know what you're talking about. He's like, you clearly have never gone through any steps. He's like, you can tell just by what you're talking about. He's like, it doesn't even make any sense. So my solution was just never to go back to that meeting again. I was like, well, what a dick. I'm never going back there again. I'm just going to go lie somewhere else, where they accept my my bullshit. But I was so afraid to ask, to just not to seem like I didn't know was scary to me, because I felt like I was supposed to know for some reason. But that's completely unrealistic. If you've never done it and you've never asked somebody to show you, how the hell was I supposed to know? But I was too afraid to ask for help, too afraid to speak up and say I'm struggling, too afraid of what I might look like if I try something and I fail at it. And it's all these fears that are rooted deep down inside of me. Those things are what drive me to be this fake person that walks around with this false bravado and confidence. Oh, for nothing. What the hell am I confident about? The bunch of bullshit that I'm spinning on a daily basis, telling people I'm fine and I know exactly what I'm doing. Thank God for this guy that goes, you're not supposed to know everything. Nobody knows everything. It is okay to say, I don't know. I've never heard of that before. Could you explain it to me? I literally needed somebody to give me permission to say, I don't know, because I was so wrapped up in having all the answers and looking confident when inside I'm just a freaking scared kid that doesn't know shit, and is too scared to ask for the instructions.
How many times you get something that you have to put together and you don't even look at the instructions?
Before, every time. Today, I drive my wife crazy because I'm like, don't touch that. That's part A that goes into part. Now I'm another level of crazy and I have to follow the instructions exactly.
It's either all out or all in.
Yeah, no, I can't do anything half-ass. I use my whole ass.
See, that's an awesome point. That whole thing, like the Google Maps. And most time we just get lost because we think we know everything. That was a good analogy. I really
well, it's true. It's true.
Well, we do that too, Caesar. I heard something one time. A guy, if I can remember how he said it, there's no recovery. Too smart for recovery, something like that. He was talking about we can be too smart for recovery. And then later on, I kind of heard some other things that formulated this idea of, I could be the best roofer or Nate landscaping, lawn stuff, or Justin drywall stuff, or me counseling. I could be the best counselor everywhere, whatever, right? Or you can do the best at that. But when intellect becomes a liability in recovery,
Yeah.
And it's like, but I'm the only one that doesn't see it. That's the whole thing. Everybody could tell me, Steve, you're too smart for this, man. Why don't you dumb it down? And one guy told me that. Changed the path of my life. Steve, if I were you, I'd go back there and pray to become stupid, dude.
I know Nate's heard me share about it before. The way that I shared in probably my first 5 years, every share was, it's got to be solution based, and I got to quote a little bit of text, and I got to have the right answer to say in any situation, in any meeting. Now, all I do is share about the mistakes that I made. And oh man, I did that, bro. I did it 4 times worse than that. But let me tell you what, I did A, B, and C, and I was able to stay in recovery through it because there's value to that, to not pretending to be perfect. There's value in saying, hey, here's some of the mistakes I made. You probably shouldn't make these. I mean, I made it through intact, but it's a lot easier and softer if you don't do these things that I did. But I didn't know any better. You know, I'm using 12-step literature as a weapon. I'm hitting people over the head with it. and you know what I'm attracting? Nothing.
Yeah. That's what my first mentor, he told me. He said, because I used to be that guy, like in a couple other previous attempts at sobriety, where like I would be that guy pontificating, like, you know, giving very lofty and intellectual interpretations of things I knew nothing about, right? And so like I didn't want to be that guy this time. So I just like, I'm not going to share. I'm going to take a year. I'm not going to say anything. And yeah, my mentor was like, bullshit, Nate. No, you know, when you share, when you feel compelled to share, you share about your struggles because everybody relates to struggle, you know, and that's how I continue to relate to people today by identifying, you know, what we have in common, which is like the basic, you know, human struggle, man, like fears, insecurities, anxiety, imposter syndrome, you know, and that like Caesar said earlier, reaches outside of the recovery arena. I assure you, like that's how you can relate to anybody, you know?
Dude, I'm just thinking a guy that used to that shot up with radiator water, and I'm sitting here trying to pretend to give a dissertation on freaking recovery, and I'm going, what the hell am I doing? You know, be real. You know, don't try to pretend to be smarter than you are. You know, don't polish it up. Your story's your story. You can't mess that up. If you just tell the truth and you tell what happened, you tell what it was like, and you put out there not just the story, but the emotions, the guilt and the shame that went with those behaviors, then you're putting something out there that someone can sink their teeth into and go, okay, I hear that. I was like that. And then they might stick around long enough to hear the part of the story where you actually got sober. But when I'm in there giving 12-step dissertations just to sound smart, who the hell wants to hear that? If I'm being honest, when I was 10 days sober, if somebody was talking like that, I couldn't wait to get out of the room. I didn't want to hear that. You know, I had way more to identify with a guy that was in their first 30 days talking about, damn, bro, I'm walking to meetings, but I'm holding it together. Like, that's the guy I want to hear from. So I went back to sharing like I'm a newcomer and just adding the experience of being here for a while. And I feel like that's a formula that people can identify with, because if I'm, like I said, if I'm being honest, when I was new, I did not want to hear that shit that I was sharing before. So we got to try something different.
Yeah, it's quoting the big book, the basic act, it's all of it, you know. It's reciting some stuff, you know. It's like,
not telling my experience, just basically proving that I know the book well enough to recite 3 full pages off the top of my head. Look how great my recovery is. My recovery is so good that I know it by heart. No, that's just a sign that you don't have anything better to share.
You don't know how to get vulnerable.
Paragraph that was just read.
And you don't know how to get vulnerable. You're still like in that mentality. It's like, I don't want these people to find out, you know, that I'm fucked up.
Yeah.
I
don't care about my struggle.
It's like when you guys talk like, you know, and I'm hearing that, I hear, you know, I can't work the steps harder to be more sober. You know what I mean? Or I can't let me go to a meeting every day, twice a day, because I want to be more sober. Like, there's no more sober. You know what I mean? It's like,
or not doing the steps because you don't want to get them wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
that's bad grammar in it, though. It worked. We could be more soberer.
I mean, I think it's time. It's time. God, you know, I don't mean to sound preachy, but God is working on me. And I used to think it was about me. And then about the 7th or 8th step, or I think it was the 7th step, I realized that he was equipping me to help other people. It wasn't even about me to begin with. Yeah.
That was the beauty, is taking ourselves out of it. Be like, oh,
Yeah.
by the way, all this work you've been doing, it's not about you, buddy.
So it's like if I got 25 sponsees, man, and we're going through the steps, we're doing that doesn't make you more sober than that guy right there.
No,
It's just, so I that's what I was hearing when you and Justin were going back and forth. I was like, golly, it's like racing to get more sober.
Yeah.
Well, it's being the coolest guy at
an anonymous program.
Yeah. I'm going to be the coolest guy and sit at the coolest table at the detox center. Like, that's what that sounds like to me.
I mean, we gotta have
being honest, right? That's what this is about: being honest and being vulnerable. I was that guy, I'm gonna be the most sober guy there is. Dumbest thing I've ever thought. But I stuck around long enough to learn how dumb that was, and it's I can look back at it and laugh now,
right?
But I had to go through that. Justin made a clip of me saying I've used the big book, or I've used 12-step literature as a weapon, and I had to learn that there's just a better way, and there's an easier, flowier, more chill, less ego involved way to share this message. And I'm much more approachable if I'm being authentic and I'm sharing my failures and my wins, not just the wins.
And if you say it on here, I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna.
I'm lucky though. You won't use any of this tonight because the lighting's too bad for me.
I got you, boy. You're actually perfect for the editing program because you have your face slit. Now I can do whatever I want in the background. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, when he said it's okay not to know, all I saw was his face. That was it. Oh, it's okay not to know.
It's okay, man. That guy, I know I've talked a lot. I just want to say that guy came into the center that I was in, and probably in the first 2 weeks. And the first guy that came in was from New York. He cussed, and he had tattoos in neck to toe. And I was like, damn, that's my dude right there. And then this other guy comes in with his tie on, and he looks square as can be, but he put this story together, and he had this ease and this calm about him, and he was funny, and I was like, crap, man, everything I do is wrong. So maybe the tattooed cussing guy is not the right guy. Let me try the square guy that looks like he's actually got it together and got some peace and calm about him. Well, the tattooed guy relapsed, and I was there for the relapse, and I drove him to detox. Once I'd been in recovery for a little while, and I had to pick that guy up and take him to detox and help him out. But my sponsor, the cool, calm, square guy with the glasses and the tie, he's still chugging along, happy, joyous, and free. So thank God tapped me on the shoulder that day and was like, hey, dum-dum, let's not have a popularity contest, and let's listen to content of what's coming out of these people's mouth, and we choose that way instead of with our eyes. Yeah.
It always have to be the cool kid on the block. You know what I mean?
Nah. My sponsor was not the cool kid. If he's watching, he's the coolest guy I know. He just doesn't look like the coolest guy.
We love you, Doug. If you're watching, you're cool to us.
There's no chance he's watching, though.
Well, we're past an hour, man. I think this has been a great live, man. I always love it. I mean, shit, every Sunday to me is a great live because we get to come on here and bullshit around, tell our truths, But I'm gonna read a few of these comments, man, and we're just gonna then we'll close it up. For one thing, I want to shout out Missy Thang, and she's asking for prayers for my daughter. Recently relapsed into heroin use, currently 3 weeks missing. We will pray for her, Missy, and
you'll be in all of our
for you
prayers.
too. Yes. Let's see, and then I think that didn't put that many. No. Let's see, we got We got Michelle says, I look back at my first rehab turn and find now I was too
Impetuous.
Thank you, Nate. To take what I then perceived as a military style of teaching awareness presented to me in my early 20s. And I don't pretend like I know big words either. I let Nate handle that.
Got your back, bro.
Naterator.
Naterator, fantastic.
And then
We
we
know
have
big words.
Rudolph said, already looking up backdrops in Premiere Pro.
To fix my floating head problem. Thank you, Rudolph.
He put you into a fake press.
Yeah, it's easy to delete the background. I'm just a head now.
That's my dude right there. All right, guys. I hope you guys got something out of this, man. And we really appreciate y'all being here with us.
If you didn't, I enjoyed it.
And if you guys like this, man, check us out next Sunday. We go live every Sunday at 8 p.m. to share our lives with you. And we will see you next Sunday. Happy Father's Day to everybody. See y'all.
Love you guys.